Japanese players on like the higher end of things, people who were metagaming, started metagaming against like the 5 players playing their deck because they expected to face it in the later rounds. Pretty incredible. And the player who did that, one of them ended up in top 8. So it was based on that incredible stuff. Here we go. We'll see what happens. See if that Sun 10 comes into play. Here we go. Edgar Flores versus Nick Spagnolo. Finals of the Star City Games Open Series here in Seattle, Washington. I'm Gavin Verhey, joined with Brad Nelson. This is going to be a match to watch. These players brought the same 74 card decks. 1 card off. 1 Sun Titan in Nick Spagnolo's sideboard versus 1 Negate Edgar Flores' sideboard. And they're 74 cards. They built it together. Nick has yet to lose a game this weekend. A single game of Magic, not one.
Unreal.
Not a single game. Edgar's lost a couple games. Actually, he drew the first round yesterday and had to battle back. Still didn't lose a match though.
And Edgar doesn't want to, give Nick that record. He's gonna do something about it.
At least got to take a game off of him, right? This is history in the making here. If Nick Spagnolo wins this match 2-0, I don't think this is unprecedented. I don't think anyone's ever got to the finals, but winning would be a nice little mark in the history book. So they're off to the races. Nick has turn 1 island, gorgeous Guru Island. I think that's what that one is.
2 of them.
Wow. Down comes double lands that are equally pretty. 2 foil Seachrome Coasts for Edgar Flores.
Edgar loves his foils.
It's true. Down comes Inkmoth Nexus.
Did Nick keep a no planes hand?
It's possible. Nick just tries to jam sort of Feast and Famine on turn 3.
No, that's not the strategy. Now does Edgar just get to dominate with a Jace?
So Edgar spell pierces that sword and then goes for a preordain. Alright, so Edgar stacks his preordain cards the way he wants them, and gonna play his land.
Just play land, and so he didn't have the Jace to capitalize on Nick missing that Jace, but that's going to be a really crucial part of this game.
Yep, there's land, and there's his own Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah,
So he stuck his own sword. That's brutal in this matchup. Like if you can protect it. So there's Inkmoth Nexus for Nick.
Nick drew an Inkmoth Nexus.
There's the Jace that we were looking for. He's gonna say, "I'll draw a card, thank you very much."
Oh, I wonder why he did it that way. If he ticks up the Jace, then they can't kill the Jace off.
Yeah, actually, I like ticking up there more too.
Yeah.
Because also you have that tectonic edge. So if you tick up and Edgar goes, all right, well fine, bash Nexus into Jace with Sword Island or something, you can just tech edge it next turn to make sure your Jace doesn't die and start -1. Oh, so they're just gonna trade off Jaces.
Oh, he has Dismember to deal with.
Oh, Nick's got the Dismember. Okay, cool. So yeah, Edgar doesn't even bother taking the risk on that Dismember. Just plays a Hawk and finds his favorite 3 pals, the other 3 Squadron Hawks in his deck.
This is looking real bad for Nick.
Yeah, the Hawk plus Sword Feast and Famine is rough. Now, Nick Spagnolo has a Gideon, but no white mana. Yeah, still no white mana for Nick Spagnolo. There's a Spell Skite.
That does absolutely nothing.
Cannot redirect Sword of Feast and Famine's quick ability to itself. So, Nick's going to dismember that Squadron Hawk in response to Sword of Feast and Famine being equipped. Drop down to 16 life.
I think the sweetest thing when I was starting to play test with Sword and Spellskite interactions, I go to equip with Feast of Famine, and my opponent in response, dismembers. And so in response, I just re-equip the sword
for
too.
free by paying 2 life. Yeah. It's awesome. So Edgar goes to equip again, and Nick has the Dismember again. Goes down to 12 life. Down comes Squadron Hawk for Edgar Flores.
First white source comes into play tapped.
And there's Seachrome Coast, but yeah, comes into play tapped. A little late for Nick Spagnolo. And Edgar's going to equip Sword of Feast and Famine here. Could we see Nick finally lose his first game of the tournament?
I think we're close.
Nick fondling his lands, trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. I'm trying to get a read on the other cards in his hand. I know he's got a Gideon.
And a Timely Reinforcements.
Gideon, Timely Reinforcements, and what's the third card?
I didn't see the third card.
I don't know what the third card is either.
So, I wonder what Edgar's thinking about. Like, even if you attack, even if there's a block from an Inkmoth Nexus, I think that's fine. Then you just have a 2/2.
Yeah. Let's see.
He's going deep in the tank for something.
Yeah, I think Edgar knows there's blood in the water, but he doesn't want to rush in. He knows it could be dangerous. All right, just goes for the attack. Nick serves with Squadron Hawk with Sword of Feast and Famine, and Nick Spagnolo is going to activate his Inkmoth Nexus to block. So he blocks.
I don't like that he tapped the Tectonic Edge either. Because now the Tectonic Edge is open from another Tectonic Edge.
Right, and then you lose your attack edge on a mana land, which is crucial. There's no reason to keep that other Inkmoth Nexus untapped, not doing anything.
Well, if he responded with like Dismember, he might want to block with it again.
Okay, sure. All right, so down comes Squadron Hawk for Mr. Flores, and another Squadron Hawk. And Nick Spagnolo's up now.
So now if Nick ever draws an Into the Royal, he's able to bounce the sword during combat, killing a bird and getting a card back.
Right.
Maybe a little tempo back.
Yeah, because of the -1/-1 counter on that Squadron Hawk, if Edgar ever moves the sword, the Hawk's going to die. And now Nick has a Hawk of his own, which is nice, but with only one planes, he can't capitalize on it nearly as fast. Only one source of white mana. All right, 3 Hawks in Mr. Spagnolo's hand.
This is a board situation that I have not seen in a long time.
The double Sword and Feast and Famine.
Yeah, that's the nail.
Man, what does Nick have going on?
He's just going to mana leak it so it can't get equipped.
All right, mana leak it so it doesn't get equipped this turn. Buys a little bit of time, but that looks like that sword is, yeah, he chump blocks with the, so Nick's chump blocks with the Squadron Hawk on that other Squadron Hawk carrying the sword. Still takes 2 and is so far behind on board. If he has a planes for Gideon, that would be the one thing that might be able to pull him out of this, but. All right, so he plays a Jace Balerin, pick up a card. Now
Does he find some more lands to get back in this game?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Inkmoth Nexus too, so he can block, but it's gonna be a rough road.
I mean, it's almost over, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Nick can play another Squadron Hawk out.
He can play another Hawk, he can equip another sword, start attacking with Inkmoth Nexuses. No play. He's just going to Into the Royal.
Goes for that play, all right.
He's got to get the Hawks off the board somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has to go for a little bit of the unsafe play, I guess. So Edgar equips the Sword of Feast and Famine. And serves in with a squad. So, all right, Into the Royal on the sword. Does Edgar have a response?
I think I would respond to that.
He's got a Spell Pierce. Is Edgar going to pierce Nick's Into the Royal? Or is Edgar going to Into the Royal?
Well, Edgar's not going to cast it Into the Royal.
Right, I mean, because there's that spell card on the board too, making that a little precarious.
I mean, I think countering it and just getting, taking 2 cards out of Nick's hand seems pretty good, but now if he draws a planes, he can't Gideon now for 2 turns, which Nick does know, or Edgar does know that as well. So Edgar's casting Into the Royal with Kicker. I don't know what he's targeting.
Is he hoping he'll redirect the Spellskate? Yeah, I think he's redirects it to Spellskate. All right, now that goes. Now the sword is going to go back, I think.
Yeah, sword gets bounced. Squadron Hawk dies.
Squadron Hawk dies.
Trigger off 1 sword.
Nick takes 4 and discards a Squadron Hawk of his own.
All right, so now he's just going to probably replay sword. Oh, he killed the Jace and...
All right, island down for Edgar Flores. So Edgar certainly has the advantage on creatures, tempo, mana, everything. Nick found, I think that's a Glacial Fortress. So yeah, there's the fortress. He can play out Gideon. All right, timely reinforcements.
Get some much needed life. Now he's going to be able to take that Jace next turn.
He gets 3 dudes, gains 6 life, but still going to be taking some damage from that Sword of Feast and Famine at the current rate. He's got a Squadron Hawk he could play to block. Alright, the Spell Skite comes back down. He's got no blockers for the Air Army.
Didn't think about actually just playing a Hawk to make sure that 2 swords don't get in.
Right, yeah, I think I would have played the Hawk there.
I mean, maybe it depends. I mean, he's got a strategy, but just equipping another sword and attacking for 6 in the air and making him discard 2 cards doesn't seem like you're going to win the game.
Right, I mean, 1 sword is guaranteed to get through, but...
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, there's the sword back down. Nick taps 2, equips to the other bird. And now it's time for combat step. Unless Edgar wants to go get in with those.
The ink monster as well.
It's probably just free damage, right? Because Nick's not gonna. Nick can't deal with both Hawks with 1 mana.
He can't deal with either Hawk with 1 mana.
I mean, he could theoretically maybe deal with 1.
No.
He could, card. I guess he could have dismembered in response. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both equipped.
And he'll only play 2 dismember, right? So yeah.
They play 3 dismember.
Oh, they do. Okay. So they untapped. Everything untaps. Nick up to 2 poison, down to 4 life.
Having to discard 2 cards.
Discarded 2 cards, though. I think they're both Squadron Hawks.
Yeah, his goal right now is to put a Gideon on the board. Like, hopefully kill Jace somehow, put a Gideon on the board. That's what he wants to do.
Alright, looks like Nick is going to serve in toward that Jace with his timely reinforcements tokens. Jace blaring goes down, and I think he's going to go for Gideon, but he's going to face Spell Pierce from Edgar Flores if he does that. Even then, he's still facing 8 damage from Edgar Flores' board, so Gideon will fall on the first strike.
Yeah, he would really need to draw another untapped land so he can Tectonic Edge one of the Egg Moths.
Yeah.
But he didn't get there, so.
Nick looking over Edgar's graveyard. Down comes Colonnade. Down comes Squadron Hawk. Alright, so I think Nick is thinking about maybe potentially trading off the Tech Edge or the Inkmoth Nexus if necessary. See what he chooses to do. Looks like Edgar Flores is thinking about that Squadron Hawk. Alright, and he just lets everything happen. Edgar untaps, fully dominating position right now.
Oh yeah.
2 swords, 1 on each Squadron Hawk, and 2 Inkmoth Nexus.
Nick's not going down without a fight, though.
No, yeah, Nick is trying to make a game out of this one. And Jace Blair comes down for Edgar Flores. Could pick up another card. And I think he found a Mana Leak that time, giving him Mana Leak and Spell Pierce in his hands. That Gideon is probably just never resolving.
And that's his only hope.
Yeah, and if Nick goes for that Gideon next turn, it's just going to fight into Spell Pierce, and that would be that. Let's see. Alright, now it's time for Edgar to be timely. So Edgar has fewer creatures, so he's going to get 3 tokens. Not getting any life, but the life not so relevant at this point. The creatures will protect him.
Very relevant creatures.
Yeah, very relevant. Make sure that Jace stays around.
Timely Reinforcement seems like an interesting card to have in a mirror match.
Huh.
Just the applications that you have. Like, he probably had that stuck in his hand for so many turns, but he had to wait till Nick had a Timely Reinforcement, so he could have a reinforcement.
Yeah, you got to reinforce to fight off the reinforcements.
Yeah.
Alright, so Nick activates his Inkmoth Nexus to chump block one of the Squadron Hawks. And he puts a Hawk and a Nexus in front of each of those, so Edgar doesn't untap his lands.
And he doesn't lose his Gideon.
And he doesn't lose this card as Gideon, but if he goes for the Gideon this turn, it's just getting countered. There's the Gideon. Edgar's going to show the Spell Pierce, and that's it. Nick Spagnolo finally loses the game.
Did Flores have a Tectonic Edge?
Flores did not have a Tectonic Edge.
So couldn't he have just held his Colonnade? By just saying, I mean, his opponent had a Jace, so I guess maybe you just want to force that. Like, you could have just held Colonnade on D, but you were really not getting anywhere in the game that way.
Yeah, I mean, you probably just going to lose to that Jace.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gideon would help you much either, of course, because that's 8 damage. That'll just kill Gideon on the first strike. But so Nick Spagnolo finally loses a game in this tournament. Still impressive, made all the way to the finals. Didn't lose a game to anybody but the mirror match, not a single game.
But it's not over, and he does get the one card that might swing the matchup.
If we're looking at the deck list straight across, Nick has the very, very slight advantage of the 1 Sun Titan.
Yeah.
And we saw the old Cobblade list, a lot of them had the 1 Sun Titan main deck, and that came into play a lot, and that card is brutal when it comes down to the mirror match.
Especially in this version where they have Jaces, where most versions don't have Jace.
Right.
I mean, getting back a Blade Splicer or getting back a Squadron Hawk or a Sword, that's fine, but getting back a Jace, being able to attack them with a creature and start getting card advantage as well, that's a really, really powerful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, for sure. So, back in the booth, I'm Gavin Bray here with Brad Nelson. So, we're in the finals now. Now we're going to give away a full year of StarCityGames.com Premium. We've given away 3 months already last night, given away 6 months already in the last round. Now we're going to be giving away a year. Brad, do you have a question for the finals, or do you want me to ask a question again?
You go ahead. All
right, well, I'll take the question then. This is how this is going to work. Just in case you're just tuning in, if you missed the semifinals earlier, I'm going to ask you guys a question. On Twitter, you guys are going to respond with the hashtag SCG Premium and your answer to the question. If your answer is correct, and hopefully it is, do your research, make sure you get the question right. You'll be entered into a raffle to win a full year of Star City Games Premium. Here's the question for you guys. Now, we're just talking about this. Hopefully you guys know the answer. These guys played 74 of the same 75 cards. Which one card does Edgar Flores have and Nick Spagnolo doesn't? Now, once again, which card does Flores have that Spagnolo does not?
Can we, so that's our question?
That's the question. So Spagnolo has a Sun Titan.
Okay, yeah.
Spagnolo has a Sun Titan. That's what we were just talking about. Which card does Edgar have that Flores doesn't? Or sorry, Edgar have that Spagnolo doesn't, rather.
Okay.
That's your question.
The answer is not Sun Titan.
The answer is not Sun Titan. Spagnolo has the Sun Titan. And that Sun Titan is going to probably serve him well in this final match if he draws it. But which card does Edgar have? Edgar's card came up very relevant in the semifinals against Matt Nass, actually.
Yep.
Saw him use it to good effect in one game. So which card was it? Tell us. All the deck lists are on StarCityGames.com. So if you go and find out right now, you could check out the tournament coverage and see the deck list yourself. Probably work it out yourself. I think you could probably manage it. So definitely do that. You have a chance of winning a year of premium. It's going to be exciting. I always love giving away the year. It feels like we have a winner of a tournament, winner of a year of premium. It's great all the way around. And once again, if you don't win this time around, we'll be giving away a Gen Con badge, 6 months of premium, a copy of Grinder tonight in the Legacy coverage. So you're going to want to stick around all day long as SCG Live just continues through. Speaking of great things happening here, I see a line of players getting ready to sign up for Legacy, signing up for the Draft Open.
I've been researching.
Yeah.
I think I didn't know too much about Legacy a couple of weeks ago, but now I feel like a veteran pro. Like, I'm ready to do some commentary on it. It's going to be an exciting day.
Yeah, speaking of StarCityGames.com content, I mean, you wrote a great article about working with Drew Levin on learning more about Legacy.
That'll be going for the next couple months.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you guys have any tips for Legacy, I mean, Brad would love to hear from you and his article feedback. You can post that on StarCityGames.com. And Drew Levin and Brad are going to be working on just learning Legacy together, and it'll be going great. Be really cool to follow. I love seeing a process unfold. You know, you get to watch it evolve through the whole timeline. And that should be really exciting to see that happen.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like, I thought, since I don't know much about Legacy at all, it'll be great to like learn the format and just publicize it.
Yeah. Especially when you're learning about Legacy, it can be so cool. The first time you see something, you're like, that's a deck? I can do that, right? Last week we saw Manless Dredge, and for the first time in a while, I kind of had that feeling of, I'd never seen this deck before, and most people had, and it's like, you can do that in this format? Like, draw, discard every game, discard Gigapeat, start discarding my Dredge cards. It's absurd, the kind of stuff you can do in Legacy. And a lot of players signing up for Legacy here, a lot of players signing up for the Draft Open. Both Sunday events, both great, both offer invites to the Invitational. Invitational really is the greatest event for Star City Games. It's like a pro tour. It gives out way more money than a Grand Prix. All the best players in North America, and now even some outside North America. We have qualifiers all the way as far as Amsterdam in the Invitational qualifiers. And if you win an Invitational qualifier, you'll qualify for the Invitational. If you do well one of these events, you'll qualify for the Invitational. $50,000 given away in cash prizes. There's no good reason not to be following the Star City Games circuit right now. It is the best time to be playing Magic, and Star City Games circuit is part of that. So players are off to the races.
All right, so
looks like Nick has the upper hand this time, just slightly, with the double Squadron Hawk.
Yeah, they're starting off with the Hawks.
And Nick's on the play. When you have the Hawk draw on the play, that gives you the slight advantage. You can be the aggressive player. You can find a way to build tempo in your favor.
Edgar has a timely reinforcement.
Ooh. Now,
seems like the kind of card that breaks parity.
Yeah, it could actually just break this matchup open, because if Edgar goes reinforcements here instead of Squadron Hawk, okay, he doesn't. Doesn't want to get spell pierced out, but he'll have more opportunities to jam that Hawk later on.
Alright, so Nick takes his 4th turn. So what's the best possible thing that Nick could have right now? Jace plus Spell Pierce backup?
Yeah, Jace plus Spell Pierce. Although Nick only has 1 island.
Oh, sure. So, he does, yeah.
And
he still only has 1 island.
Yeah, last game we saw him light on white mana. This time might be a little light on blue mana. He does have the plains, though, which is what you want when you have the Squadron Hawk draw.
And he does have a Colonnade in hand, and he's just like holding up Mana Lake. I wonder why he just said go.
So I just passed the turn. I'm possibly trying to represent counter magic.
Well, he is representing a Mana Lake, but I'm curious about like not trading a Hawk or two. Like he wants all the Hawks in play.
Right. I wonder if he feels like he's favored with the Hawks. Normally, like you start trading off your Hawks, but if you have something like a Sword of Feast and Famine, it becomes more advantageous for you to hold the Hawks. But I don't see a sword in Nick's hand. Maybe he's got one hiding back in there in the back. It's hard to catch all the cards he's got there. It's also possible Nick has a good hand. He just wants to buy time.
Yeah.
No reason to be aggressive if Edgar's not going to be aggressive. If you're just trying to buy time.
Lands in play, well.
Right. For example, if Nick had a Sun Titan, I could see him just holding back here, not doing too much, and then just building up to hit a Sun Titan eventually. You don't want to get Sword of Feast and Famine by Edgar Flores or something like that. And then when you hit Sun Titan, you can bring back any Hawks you had to chump block with. Or that Tectonic Edge, of course.
Totally agree with that.
And there's a timely reinforcements. Thanks to the spell Nick Spagnolo just cast.
I think
that'll
he's
make
going to
some
Mana
tokens, and Nick's going to Mana Leak it.
Edgar probably will counter back, maybe not.
I don't know if it's important enough to have Edgar counter back. Depends how important. It really depends how important Edgar thinks this reinforcements is, and what else he has in his hand he wants to protect later on.
He is at 19.
That's true. 6 life. 6 life. A 1 ping from the Squadron Hawk. I wonder if it's actually correct to not attack with your Hawk that turn.
Well, he wanted to see if Edgar wanted to offer a trade, and Edgar didn't want to offer a trade.
Sure. Edgar thinking about it. Taps 2 and goes for negate. Nice little card there.
He's going to get his 3 soldier tokens and his 6 life.
Yep, so Edgar goes up to 25 and he gets a trifecta of soldiers to fight for him. Down comes Seachrome Coast tapped, and there's Gideon Jura. Now, this is a good spot to have Gideon in.
Well, I mean, if you had a grizzly bear, it'd be a great
Just one-time Silvercoat Lion, right? If only they had boarded in Lions for the mirror match. Armored Warhorse. But, alright, so attacks Gideon with all those, and now I think Nick's probably just going to trade off all those Hawks. Alright, yep, trades off the Hawks, spell's got a 1. Gideon drops to 6 counters. And does Gideon start battling next turn?
It depends what Edgar does.
Sure. I mean, Nick also has access to that Colonnade, so if Nick wants, he can just be the aggressor, go activate Colonnade, serve with Gideon, present 10 points of power in the red zone.
Yeah, and then it'll be difficult to attack back with that Gideon.
Yeah. All right, Nick untaps. Taps the mana, and there's a pre-order in from Nick Spagnolo. I think he sees that pair of islands, or maybe like Gideon at an island. Jason at an island. And he tapped his Colonnade to use that pre-order too.
Yeah, he's not going to activate his Colonnade.
So he's very clearly
he's
not
going to put his like Squadron Hawk in play, and there's a lot of need with a Gideon to have a board presence. I'd only hold back the Colonnade if I'm actually taking out a real threat, not just one of my opponent's 4 1/1s. And yeah, there's a Jace. That gets mana leaked by Edgar. Yeah, it's really scary how powerful Jaces can be hiding behind Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with Mind Sculptor, and Balerion is not much different.
No, we've seen it with Balerin.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yes, that too. But picking up cards every turn is just such a beating. And it just in a control or even aggro control or even aggro matchup, drawing 2 cards is going to quickly trump drawing 1 card. Gives you so much more resources to play with.
I wonder what's in Edgar's hand. He has a white card.
Are you sure there's a white card, not a Seachrome Coast?
I guess it might be Seachrome Coast. I thought it was a white card, though.
I thought it looked like it might be split white-blue.
Alright, so Edgar's carefully thinking if he probably wants to activate his Inkmoth Nexus or not. Unless he's got spell in his deck, or spell in his hand. Yeah, I really wonder what Edgar's thinking about.
Yeah, he's clearly.
Maybe
I mean, it's not a good position for Edgar, and he's trying to.
Oh, I think he has he just drew a Gideon.
Oh.
I think he has to, if he wants to just like
Slam the Gideon.
slam the Gideon or try to kill off the Gideon and get his own in play. That's actually really valid.
That's always a big
Because
line of
there's
play.
not much left. Like after the Squadron Hawks are all gone, there's not much left to win a game with in both decks.
Yeah, you got a Colonnade Gideon.
They
right?
have one other Gideon. I mean, Nick has a Sun Titan.
And
But
that's
other than
once
that,
again, Sun
he's
Titan's
probably
a
got
big deal.
1 or 2 timely reinforcements.
Yeah, timely reinforcements is relevant. All right. Oh, there's the Sun Titan.
Oh.
Nick drew his one of, and
we go into game 3.
well, I mean, we still got a little bit of play this game, but
I mean, it's going to be getting in every turn.
and Tech Edge is down. Edgar's Tech Edge,
Tech
maybe
Edge. I would assume you just take out. What? No, take out a Tech Edge.
takes out the Inkmoth Nexus of Edgar's.
Inkmoth's not going to be relevant.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big.
I might have Tech Edge first, so I could bring back Tech Edge with my Sun Titan, maybe.
No, you're bringing back Spellskite just in case.
He gets like double dismember. Or
double
something.
dismember, yeah,
I guess that's
like-
fair. All right, so yeah, and Nick Spagnolo quickly takes the game. Edgar doesn't even. He's like, I don't want to play this out.
Well, no, there's their decks are great, but the one thing that I think about this matchup is that Sun Titan is so big because nothing kills it on its own,
Right.
and there's not that many threats. So like they were both out of Squadron Hawks. Edgar's going to have to win by either his 1 Gideon or Colonnades, and Nick has just a stream of Tectonic Edges and Jump Blockers, and
Yeah,
it's just never gonna
I mean, I thought
happen.
Edgar might at least try and play it out, but he just didn't even go for it. Because Edgar, like once again, normally a very stalwart player, like placed at the bitter end. That time did not have any interest in fighting. Just all right, let's get down to game 3.
There's like no way to win.
Yeah, I mean, you could try and string together something insane if you have like dismembers and maybe you like into the royal.
Interroy plus double dismember.
And double dismember, something like I said, pretty absurd, but it didn't pan out that way. Edgar knows better than to fight against a rising tide, and he's going to go into the 3rd game.
Gets to be on the play.
He doesn't be on the play, and we saw that be huge for Nick Spagnolo that game. I mean, it didn't end up being that insane for him. It could have been with the way he had Hawks. Like if he had a sword, for example, he would have been so far ahead that game.
Yeah, like obviously if you go turn 2 Hawk and the other opponent responds with Hawk and you just slam a sword down on turn 3, that seems like a really powerful
Or like
play.
a Jace or any number of cards on
Yeah.
turn 3, and you start getting ahead. And so being on the play is a big deal. You play a little differently if you're on the play than on the draw in this matchup.
Well, I feel Nick still should try to resolve a Sun Titan.
I feel like resolving Sun Titan is a good way to go in this matchup. The one Sun Titan, Nick's got to be happy about that slight little change. He's like, you know what, Edgar, I like all your cards, but maybe not this one in the sideboard.
I fully believe that he's like, yep, this deck's not. We're gonna make the finals. I gotta have a little slight edge against you.
Right? Just, once again, not the first time that's happened. And sure, Nick just wanted to get that little edge. Oh, Edgar goes to Paris this time. So Edgar drop it down to 6 cards versus Nick Spagnolo's full group of 7.
At least Edgar can say he took a game off Nick.
This is his claim to fame in this tournament. Yeah, he made sure Nick lost the game in this tournament. It would have been insane if Nick had won the event without losing a single game. But at the very least, if he wins, he
it
will
was
have lost the game.
391 players. I think that number alone just means insane.
Yeah.
Like anyone that wins the event, that's pretty insane. But a preordained from Edgar Flores.
Yep, and Edgar kept his hand pretty quickly, so it's probably got a lot of the stuff he's looking for. or at least a preordained, which could be anything, right?
Well, it was a 6. He probably had a couple lands and some spells that were decent. It's difficult to be greedy on a mold of 5. I mean, I've definitely mulled from 7, you know, something that was just lands and spells, but especially a deck like Cobblade, like your mulligans aren't as brutal as other decks. Like if this was like a combo matchup or a mono red matchup, like I wouldn't want to be on 6 when my mirror match opponent is on 7. But
Right.
Like still got a drawing card advantage.
There's the Hawk there for Nick Spagnolo. So Nick's got the Hawk advantage. Edgar does not. That is a big deal. And down comes Jace Beleren.
Edgar has a Jace advantage.
Now that is once again a huge thing about being on the play versus draw, right? Like if Nick had gone turn 2 Hawk, Edgar goes land, Nick goes Hawk, attack you, and then Edgar plays a Jace, not big of a deal. But now Edgar's going to go -1 draw card. Nick can only bash that Jace down to 1. Nick will play another Hawk. Edgar will be able to put Jace up to 3.
He'll probably just take it down.
You think he'll just spend the Jace?
I mean, it depends on what's in his hand, but sometimes you just don't want to give your opponent card advantage. But he is going up to 3.
Yeah, I like going +2 here.
Well, if you can't protect the Jace, you're giving your opponent card advantage. Like, if now every turn it's a Howling Mine, you know? So you're replacing just getting up 1 card on your opponent or versus a Howling Mine that will die in a turn.
Right. The difference is you have Jace in play, so if you find like a Gideon or something, then suddenly you're back to Phyrexian Arena mode. There's a Spell Skite down for Edgar Flores, or if you just find a Squadron Hawk. So Spell Skite comes down for Edgar Flores, passes the turn. But yeah, I most agree. You have to be careful with your Jace. You can't just Howling Mine every turn.
Because Nick's already getting on the board, and that's the most important place you want to be.
Right. Oh, there's a Jace of Nick Spagnolo's own.
That's an interesting play.
Looking to trade him up. It is interesting. I wonder if he's wondering just if he can bait a Mana Leak from Edgar Flores or Spell
So then it
Pierce.
can,
Because I don't know how important this Jace is to Nick, especially if Nick's plan is just to once again turn that Jace into a Howling Mine.
Well, it's just he's going to keep attacking it. Edgar's going to keep Howling Mining, but like next turn he's going to have and a Deprive from Edgar.
Ooh, Deprive. Spell Pierce from Nick Spagnolo. All right, well clearly he cared about that then.
By Nick casting that, we knew he had a Spell Pierce for sure. I don't think I could run into that play without having a Spell Pierce.
All right, so he trades up Jaces, and the Hawks crash onto Edgar Flores' life total, dropping him down to 18 life. And Edgar's going to Tech Edge down Nick. So now Nick on 3 lands. Edgar also on 3 lands thanks to a Deprive and that Tectonic Edge. And now comes down Spell Skite. So Edgar's got double Spell Skite versus Nick's double Hawk.
I wonder why they keep all the Spell Skites in after sideboard.
And there's the Jace Beleren. Yeah, I don't know if they want to protect against Dismember or into the Royal. Also possible maybe they just don't want to bring many cards in. I don't think I would have Spell Skite in my deck after sideboarding.
I mean, you even have like Day Judgment, even Ratchet Bomb, like something.
Ratchet Bomb away all their Hawks, right?
Suntain.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Edgar should have definitely brought in a Day Judgment or 2 just to have an answer to. To Sun Titan.
I used to leave 1 day in after sideboarding just because you also have the games, especially even more now, where it's all about Squadron Hawk. Even just you fall behind on Hawks, it's hard to get ahead.
And your preordains are never dead. Like you're never drawing dead.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I also just like having the feeling of okay, well I still got a chance this game. If I draw perfectly, I can win.
Yeah, and I just don't feel like those Spell Skites are actually doing anything. I definitely want to. I mean, we're gonna get the winner in the booth. They're gonna have to answer that question for us.
I mean, it's possible that they just want have blocker for timely reinforcements tokens or whatever, but it doesn't seem that relevant to me. I am curious too. So it looks like Nick is decidedly advantaged this game. Oh, timely reinforcements comes down. Gonna give him 3 guys. Now the Spell Skites will do a good work of blocking there.
Yeah.
Of course, without those Spell Skites, would have never kicked up the reinforcements in the first place. But
that's so true. It's really funny.
So if they're there to block timely reinforcement tokens, might not be what they're looking for exactly. Edgar plays a tapped Seachrome Coast. And thinks, how am I getting myself out of this? My opponent has an active Jace Beleren. He's got Squadron Hawks. How am I fighting through that wall? Taps.
And I feel like maybe a sword and try to attack the Jace.
Yeah, chip past that Squadron Hawk wall.
Starting to get a little bit bigger creatures going in.
Edgar taps. one that looks like Dismember on a Squadron Hawk.
Interesting.
Alright, so Dismember the Hawk and then serves in at the Jace, hoping to kill that Jace. We'll see if Nick has a Dismember or Into the Royal of his own. Jace only on one counter, this would kill the Jace.
It's important to keep Jace in play, but he doesn't really want to. I mean, if he like Into the Royals and just gets counterspelled right now, is it going to be as important as like holding it Into the Royal against like Gideon?
Right. Plus cantrip comes into the Royals is important. Alright, so Royals back to Squadron Hawk. And there's Spellskite's in place, so we can redirect if he wants to. Interesting, so he just went for... I don't know if I would royal there against the Spellskites.
Well, I mean, that's what's going to happen anyway, so why not make him do it?
Sure.
And now you can actually send back in. I mean, Edgar's at a low life. Now you're able to attack at him.
I suppose. It seems like you want to kick up those Into the Royals when possible if you're fighting against Spellskites, just because you're going to draw cards, but maybe Nick's just on a different game plan. Alright, so there's a third Hawk from Edgar Flores. And now Nick can crash in. We'll drop Edgar to 9 life. I think we have the Spellskite 2 damage, redirect damage in there.
No, there wasn't any 2 damage redirect.
Oh, did he pay blue for it?
He did pay blue.
He played blue, okay. Nick ships both cards with Preordain. And now he's got access to 4, Glacial Fortress for 5 mana. And Nick serves in with his 3 soldiers and his birdie. Edgar blocks 2, they trade off Hawks. Spellskite blocks a soldier, and Edgar takes 2 from the damage.
Plays another Squadron Hawk.
Plays another Hawk. Finding his last Hawk.
Yep.
And doesn't opts to not play his Hawk, instead just passing the turn back to Edgar Flores.
I mean, you got to hold up the mana leak in fear of a Gideon.
Right, yeah. Gideon on this board is so powerful, you don't just want to get Gideoned out.
All I want to do is play this deck now.
Yeah, this Cobblade deck looks so powerful. I mean, even without Stoneforge and Jace, you just still are playing some of the best cards in the format. And you're doing things way more powerful than most of their decks. Now, when you're on parity, you gotta find a way to get ahead. And figure out what your plan is to do so. We'll see what Edgar Flores is
I don't know
playing.
how much they're in parity. I mean, Edgar has, what, like 5 cards in hand to... I mean, Nick's got just a full grip, plus a little bit more on board, plus an extra Squadron Hawk in hand. He's got a slight edge.
Nick has a slight edge, but I think... I mean, they're on parity-ish. Obviously, Edgar Flores' life total isn't half, but... Alright, Spellskite comes back down, help block the soldier token. And taps 2. That's...
He gets mana leaked.
That's Squadron Hawk, okay. Hawk gets mana leaked.
When 1/1s are all we get to battle with, they become more important.
Right. Gotta keep off those 1/1s. No Goblin Fire Slingers for you. Alright, serves in for 4. Gets blocked. 3 things. 2 Spellskites on 2 soldiers, and the Hawks will trade off. Nick Spagnolo will allow that to happen. Drops Edgar to 9 life. Nick Spagnolo is just 9 points away from claiming the Standard Open Championship here. Edgar draws his card.
I think it's a good one. Which gets spell pierced. So the sword was actually going to be able to give him some defenses against the 1/1 attack.
Yeah. Yeah, that mana leak from Nick Spagnolo just shuts that right down. And then...
I'm just surprised that there has not been an activation of a colonnade yet. Not one in a blue-white mirror match.
Alright.
So frequently.
So they trade off their Hawks, and once again, Edgar takes 1, will drop down to 8 life. Now it's the slow game of fighting through the Spellskites. Double Spellskite on Edgar Flores' side, triple Soldier token on Nick Spagnolo's board. 1 soldier getting through every turn at the current rate.
He needs to draw another Spellskite.
He needs to draw another Spellskite, sure. I think Nick has the Inkmoth Nexus back there I can maybe start using. I don't see colonnades on either side.
No, neither side has a colonnade.
Okay. So... Alright, so Edgar has another sword. Does Nick have a counter magic for it?
Uh-oh. That could be really big.
Oh, mana leak. Make Edgar pay 3, Spell Pierce. And that's a good use of both those cards. Perfectly fine card to get 2 for 1 for. And Nick's going to Royal back that Spellskite, pick up a new card. And now we get in for 2 this turn. Chop Edgar's life total down to 6. Support status, Nick has 3 soldier tokens to 1 Spellskite on Edgar Flores this set.
And there's a Colonnade.
And there's the Colonnade. And that is a big deal.
Yeah, that's very big. No tectonic edges on Edgar's side. Unless he's been sandbagging one for a while.
Right.
It happens a lot.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Do you think Nick should have got in with that, with the Inkmoth Nexus? No?
I mean, sure you could have, but odds are it's not gonna end at that. Plus, you could maybe have like an into the royal representing something else. Like
In the Royal.
I usually find psychological when an opponent like attacks with an Inkmoth, they don't have anything, you know. And it's not that important. And if he attacks with it, then Edgar's gonna think his land in hand is a blink, which it probably is. But
so Edgar thumbs through Nick's graveyard, trying to see if there's anything in there that would give away contents of Nick's hand, give away contents of Nick's plans, but now he's just back in the tank, trying to figure out how to backpedal himself out of this one.
Yeah. I don't know how much Nick's plans are, but I'm pretty sure Edgar knows that he's just going to start attacking with a lot of damage.
Yeah, Edgar has to answer that Colonnade. That's the biggest thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what's in Edgar's hand to make that happen.
Oh, Gideon.
Oh, there's Gideon Jura. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think Edgar probably wanted to see if Nick had a counter magic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Nick activates the Colonnade. And I think, will he activate... Does he have enough to activate the Inkmoth Nexus too? All right, so activate the Nexus, and that'll bring Gideon down to 1.
It's not gonna. I don't think it's that important to activate the Nexus. Plus, you now can threaten to have Mana Leak again.
Right. I mean, I think if he had Mana Leak, he would have played for sure on the Gideon, but.
Oh no! I mean, you could have top decked it.
Oh, sure.
I mean, they're pretty much off the top right now.
And so Gideon down to 2 lowly counters. And Nick Tectonic Edges.
Just land.
A land from Edgar Flores, just cutting him off his mana. Nick's, like you said, still representing a potential mana leak off the top. Edgar Flores with a 2 counter Gideon. He's trying to protect. Edgar taps 4. There's Into the Royal on 1 soldier token. Gideon goes up to 4 counters, and down another Spellskite. All right, now Nick's going to go Colonnade, serve at Gideon this turn.
Yeah.
I imagine that's probably his only play. All right, activate Colonnade.
No, why is he activating? He doesn't that.
Not sure what Nick just drew that would make him want to activate that Nexus too.
I mean, the only reason you activate Nexus is if you think if you guys are read on Edgar's Dismember.
So now he serves everything at Gideon. I'm surprised why he didn't serve with everything last turn then.
I don't know.
Like you said, I agree. There's kind of psychological thing. If you serve with Inkmoth Nexus, you have nothing. You're still representing Mana Leak, I guess, so it's not that different.
It's not just... It's representing something.
Sure. All right, so now Nick activates Colonnade, serves in with those guys. That'll drop Edgar Flores down to 2 life.
Yeah.
Is it? Could this be it for Edgar?
And he's got 8 turns.
Nick Spagnolo make it through this event, losing only 1 game.
That's it.
Nick Spagnolo takes it down, losing only 1 game the whole event to Edgar Flores in the finals.
Yeah.
Cobblade is your champion 2 weeks in a row. Congratulations to Nick Spagnolo, Star City Games Open Series Standard champion here in Seattle, Washington. Phenomenal match.
So do we go try to grab him?
Yeah, Nick will be over here shortly.
All right, sweet.
We'll have his picture taken right behind us, and then we'll get a chance to talk to him about the choices he made.
I mean, it's a pretty interesting matchup. I don't think Nick had Spellskites because he never played one post.
Yeah, I don't know why Edgar left his in.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, oh no, he did have Spellskite because when he Sun Titan, he got a Spellskite back.
Oh yeah, well, hey, back in the booth.
Hey,
I'm Gavin Verhey here with Brad Nelson. You just saw the end of the Standard Open. All came down to that match. Nick Spagnolo is the champion. Cobblade won